Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. Less than a week ago, I came back from Jamaica from vacation and I did a video on my favorite reggae albums. Made sense since it was Jamaica. I got a request at that time to do a video on my favorite Canadian artists, and I was like, that was a cool idea. In fact, that's what's playing right there. I did that video 2 days ago, and I really enjoyed it because I got a chance to go through my database and figure out who's Canadian. It was really kind of fun. And Joe Jenkins, one of our viewers from our community, he made a comment. He said, hey, since you did Canadian, I'd like to see you do your favorite Australian acts. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that, Joe. How many are there? Well, crikey, as you Aussie people would say, crikey, I was surprised. I came up with a decent list of 10 of my favorite Australian musical artists. So here they're going to be in alphabetical order. I'm going to show you the ones that are my favorite because that's what I have in my database and that's what I show and talk about. And then I'll talk about some Australian acts that I don't have. And Joe said to me, whatever you do, Alan, you better not make a mistake. He threatened me. He said, you better not make a mistake about a certain artist. Don't worry, Joe. I'm on it. We're going to talk about it. All right, let's talk about the 10 favorite Australian artists that I have that I like. I guess there's nobody bigger from Australia than AC/DC, right? And I'm a fan of AC/DC. Got to be honest with you, I am more of a fan of AC/DC with Bon Scott. I'm not trying to be cool. I'm not trying to be contrarian. The fact of the matter is, AC/DC with Brian Johnson, I could only take so much. His voice just, it's like in that Geddy Lee area. I could only take so much Rush, and I could only take so much AC/DC. Plus, their music is so samey. But I love Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. I mean, I could listen to Big Balls all the time. In fact, if I'm in a bad mood, I'll throw Big Balls on just to put a big-ass smile on my face. So Highway to Hell, another classic. I have 11 AC/DC albums, just to let you know. And, of course, everybody's got Back in Black, and I have Back in Black as well. What is this? I got like a dual disc version of that. But I never listen to Back in Black. It's just so played out. But classic stuff for sure. AC/DC. Now, work in progress for me is this guy, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. I think I started getting into him 4 or 5 years ago. I only have 2 Nick Cave albums so far. I have 2 collections. One is called The Best of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and one is called Murder Ballads. And like I said, he's a work in progress. He's got a huge discography. I already got a huge backlog, so I'm trying to slow down. But I am enjoying Nick Cave. He's definitely different. And, yeah, I appreciate him. And like I said, I'll continue to get more and more into him. I do like him. Let's keep going. Next up is the Divinyls. I only have 1 album from them. I think that's all I need. And I really only have this album because the song I Touch Myself, which I think is such a fun song. Oh, my God. Does it get better than I Touch Myself? I don't think it does. Let me get my channel on here. There's a backdrop. All right, there you go. The Divinyls, the debut album with I Touch Myself. Why not? Great song and a fine record, actually. Unfortunately, I think she passed away. Next up is the Easy Beats. I only talk about stuff that I have. I do have Easy Beats, but they're always on these compilation albums I have. Friday on My Mind and things like that. And you got to mention them because it's such a classic song. And also George Young was in the band. And, of course, he was the father, right, of the Young brothers from AC/DC. So you got to mention that. Next up is INXS. Now, I was in college when INXS broke. It was a perfect time. Huge band. Michael Hutchence, still so sad what happened to him, what he did. Amazing. But I have kept the best of INXS. As much as I like them, I had Kick and I had their live record as well. I don't really listen to INXS very often, and when I do, this is more than sufficient. But INXS, a really fine band for sure. Great front man too. Next up is Jet. This was cool. I got Get Born when it first came out, and it went top 3 for me that year. That is a really big deal. Like I said, every year I pick my top 3 most listened to albums. Not easy to do when you think about every year I buy 150 albums. This year's going to be over 200. You go top 3, it's a big deal. This album went top 3. In fact, it's the only time an Australian act for me went top 3 was this album. This album still sounds great. You know, Are You Gonna Be My Girl? Look What You've Done. Cold Hard Bitch. This is a great album. Problem with this album was the follow-up was fine. It was called Shine On. And it was good, but just didn't compare to Get Born, in my opinion. So there's Jet. Let's keep going. If you're talking Australia, well, you got to talk Men at Work. I have 3 Men at Work albums. Of course, the classic debut, Business as Usual, with Down Under and Who Can It Be Now. When it comes to Men at Work, I'll typically listen to a compilation like Contraband, The Best of Men at Work. Another band, what is it with Australia? They just put a smile on your face. Put a smile on my face anyway. They're just something about fun band and a really good album. I actually have Colin Hayes solo as well. Next up, classic from Midnight Oil, Diesel and Dust, and this is a deluxe edition. And really, really good album. Political, Beds of Burning, of course, but really fine record from Midnight Oil in the Alan Rosenberg Show right there. Next up, well, if you know my channel, I always joke, I'm coming out of the closet again. I keep coming out of the closet as a huge fan of Olivia Newton-John. So out of all these Australian acts, AC/DC's got 11 albums. That's the most. Except Olivia Newton-John, I have 22 Olivia Newton-John albums. And I still get some of these old ones. In fact, this year, I picked up this live vinyl from Japan called Love Performance. This is an old one before physical and everything. Yeah, I mean, let's face it, she's absolutely stunningly beautiful and an incredibly nice person and the real deal. I mean, if you watch interviews with people who performed with her and played in her band, they all say she's like one of the greatest singers of all time, and she really is. And this was a thrilling live record that I picked up to share at a record show. It was thrilling to have. But if you don't want to give Olivia Newton-John a chance, because she's Olivia Newton-John, give her a chance, man. Pick up like here's a single compilation called Back to Basics. I mean, I'm telling you, keep an open mind. She's so good. She's so good. I miss her so much. Here's a live one. And I'll tell you something. When she got breast cancer, she started writing her own songs. And I'm not saying she's the world's greatest songwriter, but some of her stuff is really good. There is a track, and if you go on YouTube, there's video versions of it where she performs it live with an orchestra, and it's called Don't Cut Me Down. You don't know that song? You'll thank me. I'm telling you, you'll thank me. Watch it on YouTube where she plays with a symphony orchestra. She wrote the song. If that song, you don't think that song is amazing, then you will. Gold is a double collection. There is a lot of compilations of Olivia Newton-John. But like I said, I got 22 of her albums. And I'm not ashamed to say I love you, Olivia. And I miss you. Let's keep going from Australia. One more act. I heard of this band from the old days. Cream Magazine and Circus Magazine used to do ads for their album. And they were just the weirdest looking band, with makeup and outfits that were crazy. And then I finally found the album on vinyl way back, and it's called Ego is a Dirty Word from a band called Skyhooks. It's actually a good record. And this was what they looked like. I mean, they were dressed crazy like this. And apparently, if you're from Australia, tell me more about them. But they were a huge band in Australia, I guess, with many albums. I was thrilled to find this album. It's got the lyrics in it and all of this kind. Dear Skyhooks, letter on the back. Skyhooks, Ego is a Dirty Word, from a relatively dirty album, right? So there you go. Cool to find that thing. There is my top 10 Australian acts. AC/DC, I have 11 albums. Nick Cave, I got 2. Divinyls, I got 1. Easy Beats, INXS, I got 1 left. Jet, 2, including a top 3. Men at Work, I got 3 albums. Midnight Oil, that album, and Olivia Newton-John with a whopping 22 albums I have, and Skyhooks with 1. Where else does that leave us? All right, Joe, you still watching? This is where it gets controversial, because 3 of what some people might consider Australian bands, and they would be actually, for me, amongst the biggest of all, are not Australian. That's right, Joe, I'm on it. So a lot of people are going to say, where the hell's the Bee Gees, right? And I'm a fan of the Bee Gees. I like the Bee Gees. I like the early Bee Gees. You know, here's the Best of the Bee Gees. And here's the Best of the Bee Gees Volume 2. These are great, right? Let's stick them over here because they're not officially Australian. Like, what are you talking about, Alan? That's right. The Bee Gees actually originally from the UK. And Odessa's a great double vinyl record. We'll stick that over there. They're not Australian. A lot of people think they are, but they're not. So we're going to put them as an asterisk. The biggest asterisk, and this is the one that Joe Jenkins threatened to kill me if I say that they're Australian, and that's Crowded House. And I'm a really big fan of Crowded House. I have 10 Crowded House albums, but Crowded House got together and formed in Australia, but according to our definition, and the Finn brothers are actually from New Zealand. What do they call them, Kiwis? I got the debut Crowded House album on vinyl when it came out. I still think it's an amazing record. Does it get any better than Don't Dream It's Over? It's one of the greatest songs of all time. But something so strong. There is a lot mean to me. This is a great album. And then after that, their other albums were also great. I mean, oh my God, you know, Together Alone, Woodface, Temple of Low Men, their compilation album, great live record. Where's their compilation? This is great. Recurring Dream. I got 2 different versions of this. One with a DVD and one with a live album. These are great. And then their Farewell to the World show, which is a double CD, and I got the DVD as well. And then they broke up, and that's the Farewell to the Tour. It was actually really sad to me when they broke up, and then doubly sad when Paul Hester, the drummer, committed suicide. Not easy being a drummer after your band breaks up. I was a drummer, and I was never a big rock star, of course, but, you know, what are you going to do as a drummer? And I guess Paul, whatever, depression. So, and then they reformed the band after that. So it's kind of a double bum up. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Crowded House. But Joe, don't worry. We're going to put them in with an asterisk because they're really from New Zealand because of the Finn brothers. I got it. I'm going to mention one other one, and that is a woman named Bic Runga. She's from New Zealand, nothing to do with Australia, but she is a tremendous artist. So if I'm talking about New Zealand with Crowded House, I'm going to mention Bic Runga because I'm not going to do a video on New Zealand. And if you don't know her, you should check her out. She is the real deal. She writes her own songs. She plays. She produces. And how did I discover Bic Runga? I will tell you, I work retail. And they play like the same songs over and over again from whatever the hell you call that. I don't know, some service. And they kept playing, you know, when you work all day, you hear the same songs on repeat. And they would play this one song all the time. And I was like, what the hell is that? It's just ear candy. It was called If You Really Do. And it was from Bic Runga. So I ordered this album because I was never going to find her stuff out in the wild. And it was just great. If you want to investigate a real talent, really melodic, really catchy, check the song If You Really Do. There's so many. There's a song called Sway. There's a song called Get Some Sleep. Bic Runga, you'll thank me. She's great. In fact, if you're a Bob Dylan fan, on this album there's a cover of One More Cup of Coffee, which is one of my all-time favorite Dylan songs. She does it live with a symphony orchestra. Oh my God. It's incredible. But I got other albums from her, Beautiful, Collision, and Birds as well. She's the real deal, Bic Runga. But no, Joe, she is not from Australia. But I'm not going to do an Australian, a New Zealand video, so it pays to talk about a real talent. So some of you people could discover something new, which is really what my channel is all about, spreading my passion. So let's put it on paper for you. Joe, thanks for the suggestion. Here's Alan Rosenberg's favorite Australian music artist. AC/DC, Nick Cave, The Vinyls, Easy Beats, INXS, Jet, Men at Work, Midnight Oil, Olivia Newton-John, with a whopping 22 albums. Don't lose respect for me. She's phenomenal. Skyhooks. Not Australian, Joe. We got the Bee Gees. I got 7 albums. Crowded House, I got 10 albums. Bic Runga, I got 3. Now, all you people are going to write me and say, Alan, you don't know squat about Australian music, and maybe you're right, but I'm trying. I do know of these other artists that I don't have. Air Supply, you're never going to hear me talk about them. Paul Kelly I know of, and I don't have any of his albums. Little River Band does not do it for me. Kylie Minogue, not going to happen. Helen Reddy, not going to happen. The Saints, well, they were an early punk band. I know of them, but I don't have their album. Sia, she's that new pop person with the hair. Ain't going to happen. Silverchair, I know of them. Not going to happen. Tame Impala actually bought 2 of their CDs out in the wild a couple of years ago. I played it. I thought it was okay. I don't have the real estate. I don't have the space. If something is not really special, not really grabbing me, it ain't staying. I don't have the room. And that's what happened with Tame Impala. Keith Urban. Well, I totally respect him as a player. I just don't have any of his albums. So there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Joe, thanks for the great suggestion. I hope I didn't disappoint you. I stuck by your advice about Crowded House because I agree with you. That's how I judge it as well, where they come from initially. That's about it. Let me know your thoughts. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Some of your comments. And help my channel to grow, guys. 4 years I'm doing this. And if you're new to it, hit subscribe. That would help me and actually help other people to find me. That would be cool. Hope you enjoyed, what is today, Saturday? I don't know. You're going to see this thing. I'm doing it Saturday night late, but I'll post this thing first thing Sunday morning. And that's about it. I'll see you next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show.